What up, everybody? Good morning. Happy Wednesday. DK Show up on the air on your radio dials 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available online at sportstalk1051.com. Stream it up over there. Download the app. Take it on the go wherever you want to go. Got the video streams up and rolling on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, soon to be Instagram here in just a few minutes, it looks like. Also have your smart devices, speakers, and such. But happy Wednesday, everybody. What do we got on the game plan for us this morning? Brewers falling last night in 10 innings. You wouldn't know it by the final score of 6-3, but it was another pitching duel last night, all the way up until the 10th inning, really, because had a no-no. Cubbies had a no-no going for longest time there, all the way through what Brown, who pitched fantastic again, just absolutely fantastic. 7 hittings of no-hit ball, 10 Ks, but no decision for him as Cubs jumped out to a 1-0 lead on a solo shot off of Freddie Peralta. Freddie Peralta was pretty darn solid too. He ended up having 11 strikeouts in the game, going 5 2/3. But Brewers weren't able to tie it up until the bottom of the ninth. So we go into the 10th, 1-1, and Cubs put up 5, Brewers put up 2. Not enough. Cubs pick up the win last night. But yeah. Brewers bullpen, who has been, got pretty darn stepping up in big moments throughout the whole season, not able to hold it down in the extra frames there. Not able to hold it down. So Brewers will try again tonight for game 3 of this series. Just kind of have to tip your cap to performance from the Cubs last night with Brown, how well he was pitching. I mean, Bellinger had that robbing of a home run off of Willie Adames. That was a sweet catch. You just got to tip your cap to that at that point in time. But Brewers, again, we'll try again tonight for game 3 of this 4-game series. So win tonight will ensure at least a split for the season and put the Crew in a position to win the series tomorrow. Wilson's going to get the start for the Crew, but boy, do we got a tough pitching matchup for the Brewers in this Brewers offense tonight. Managa. Is that how you pronounce Managa? I probably just butchered his name there. But he's been off to a fantastic start for the Cubbies. 5-0 with a .84 ERA. I mean, he has been lights out. Absolutely lights out. Another left-handed pitcher, too, that the Brewers will be going up against tonight. So, obviously, Brewers don't have any experience going up against him. Wilson on the other hand, I mean, he's been good this season too. He's 3-1 with a 2.86, ERA. But Brewers offense going to have their hands full with tonight's pitching matchup. So we'll see if the Crew's bats can kind of come alive and help them out tonight and put up some runs early. Speaking of the Brewers offense, so every Wednesday, and you'll see it play later on on the station later on and throughout the day here. We kind of do. So if you follow the Facebook pages out there, we put up a poll question on Monday night. Okay. It's kind of, do you remember the old TV show? I don't think it's still on anymore, but remember back in the day, Sports Nation, it was like Michelle Beto, Colin Cowherd were on it on ESPN, and a lot of it was like polls and votes by listeners, viewers of the show, and their topics were surrounded on that and such. Kind of our own spin on that, but Wednesdays or maybe even Monday nights or even Tuesday mornings, we'll put up a poll question on the Facebook pages and such, and you get 24 hours to vote for it. Okay, you get 24 hours to vote, and then Wednesday it's kind of like the verdict is in, see where everybody's at, and kind of have a little commentary and such. But so the results, they'll play throughout the day and a little commentary with the question and such. But for this morning too, I want to bring up the question and tell you how everybody kind of voted. But since we're talking a little bit about the Brewers offense, that was the question, and it was, Do you think right now, as it's currently constructed, this Brewers offense, which is top 5 in numerous offensive categories across Major League Baseball, not just the National League, but across Major League Baseball, do you think the Brewers offense is good enough to not only get to the postseason, but to maybe win a series or get a little deep in the postseason? 62% of you on the Sports Talk Nation poll said, yes, you think it is. You think it is. Now, let's go with the assumption, too, of Rhys Hoskins back in the lineup and all that jazz there, too. So we'll hit that up a little bit. We're coming up here in a little bit, too, talk a little bit about is the Brewers offense, how it's currently constructed, good enough to not only get to the postseason, but, again, maybe to win a playoff series. Because I think, I don't want to speak for all Brewers fans, but, I think a lot of Brewers fans now are at that point. Is like not just to get to the postseason anymore. You want to win. You want to win in the postseason too. You want to win a series. You want to win a couple series. You want to win the World Series, right? So, baseball talk coming up throughout the morning. Timberwolves. If you're a Timberwolves fan, you live for another day as the T-Wolves picking up Game 4 victory, avoiding the sweep last night against the Dallas Mavericks. So that series will continue. That series will continue on as the Boston Celtics will await to find out who they will be playing for an NBA championship. So, got another Game 5. Got a Game 5 coming up here later on. But Timberwolves and Timberwolves fans live to fight another day. So we'll throw a little hoops chat into that equation throughout the morning here too. Florida picking up a victory in overtime in the Stanley Cup playoffs, 3-2 victory. So that series is now tied at 2 apiece. Also coming up for tonight for the Stanley Cup playoffs, we've got the Stars taking on Edmonton. Dallas currently leading that series 2-1. Back to baseball here too. We're going to get to this topic probably the next hour, but last night, late last night, overnight, we shared it early on our Facebook page, so maybe you saw it or maybe you heard it elsewhere and such. But some fairly big news in terms of baseball history, because we know baseball history. I mean, it's a big deal. Statistics, records, numbers, all that sort of stuff, right? Baseball, Major League Baseball now is going to officially incorporate stats and statistics from the Negro Leagues. So that's officially going to happen. Those numbers, those statistics will officially be as part of the record books now. They'll all be counted. Okay, they're all going to be there, and that's big because, well, first off, you get all these, that you're talking about 3,400 Negro League players, around 3,400, who will now be a part of the official Major League Baseball record books. But one name you're going to see quite a bit now at the top of some of these categories is going to be Josh Gibson. Josh Gibson. Know that name. You're probably going to hear that name for, with this news coming out, with the story coming out, you're going to hear that name a little bit more. So we're going to do, once in a while, we do a little class and session, a little history lesson and such. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Josh Gibson and just how great of a player he is, because right now, as of it's going to be today they're going to integrate these numbers. Josh Gibson will now be the all-time leader in career batting average, 372, which beats out Ty Cobb's 366. He will also be the leader in slugging percentage at 718, which beats Babe Ruth's 690, and will now be the leader in OPS, 1.177, also beating Babe Ruth, who had 1.164. Gibson will also be the new single-season leader in those same categories. Single-season leaderboard, if you want to look at the numbers, single season. 1943, he hit 466 batting average. 1937, he had a 974 slugging percentage. 1931, he had an OPS of a 1.474. In fact, OPS, he has that now the top two. Barry Bonds would be the most current one, 2004, when he had 1.421. In fact, slugging percentage, Josh Gibson's got two of the three too. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that coming up in the next hour here. But I think that's some pretty big stuff out there, pretty big news to incorporate those, because you're talking about now about 3,400 players will now be a part of the official MLB records and stats and statistics over there. I think it's awesome. I think it's cool. So we'll hit that up. We got another business, so sports coming up a little bit later on, about shortly past 8 o'clock. Brought to you by Security Financial Bank. So we will hit that up and kind of do another fun segment with that. Maybe we'll throw a little football talk. I mean, there's not really a lot going on. It was at the end of the program yesterday where we talked about the news that was breaking about a potential change into off-season workouts and OTAs and maybe a longer training camp. So we'll hit that up and kind of explain it. I'm sure you probably heard a little bit about it yesterday, but it's got mixed reviews. It's got mixed reviews here. So in case you didn't hear about it, in case you don't know too much about it, we'll kind of break that down and what exactly does it mean? What could a new off-season schedule, potentially as early as next year, kind of look like when it comes to the summer? So we'll get to that coming up a little bit later on here too. So, but let's lead off things here. Talking some more baseball, talking some Brewers and such. Oh, quickly too. I mean, it was a big day on the prep scene yesterday. High school such. So I mean, so many prep athletes and prep teams, prep sports in action last night. I mean, you got Memorial Boys Golf, who's advancing the state for the fourth straight year. Shout out Shatek Warehouser, also heading the states. Baseball action tomorrow. We're going to have Memorial versus North in a regional final, so that's going to be in action tomorrow. Chi-Hi, Altoona, Elk Mound, Fall Creek, Mondovi. Shout out Metford defeating Rice Lake. They all picked up wins too. Softball teams, some of these teams are just one win away now from heading the state. That's Chi-Hi, that's Rice Lake, that's Spooner, that's Fall Creek, Oliva Shrum, Thorup, just to name a few. So shout out. It was a busy day yesterday on the prep scene too. So and then the Express down in Madison, they did fall to the Madison Mallards too. So 1-1 in the first two games of the season. They're going to be visiting Rochester tonight. So forgot to throw those out there too. So, but let's get things rolling here. Coming up on the leadoff, we'll talk a little Brew Crew, recap last night's victory, another pitching duel. Even though if you're box score scouting or taking a look at it, probably didn't look like it. 6-3 final in the 10th inning. A major test though tonight for this Brewers offense going up against the Cubs. So, we'll hit that up. We'll preview that coming up here in two. Don't forget to always join us in the conversation. Hit us up with some texts on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. Video stream, you can join the chat over there too. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. We'll take a quick break and we'll get things rolling here this morning on the leadoff. Talking a little baseball. Coming up after these quick words. home prices they're pretty darn high right now if you're trying to maybe buy a new home. So instead of maybe doing that, do you want to do some updating in your own home? Maybe do some remodeling with the floors and such. Maybe do some shower tile on that. Hey, look no further than our good peeps, our good friends at Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. Whether it's a new flooring game that you're looking to update, carpet, tile, luxury vinyl planks in the living room, bedroom, man cave, rec room, or maybe you're redoing doing the bathroom because it needs a little updating over there. Because when was the last time you've updated that bathroom? Carpet City Flooring Center can help you out. The entire team there will work with you from start to finish. They'll help you come up even with some styles that may look best in your home, but also work great, perfect in your budget. And they're the best kind of team members to have on your team because they will, one, match or beat the competition if you happen to find a better deal elsewhere. But they're just, gosh darn, great people to work with, awesome people to work with over there. So, again, if you're thinking about maybe doing a little remodeling, a little updating within the home and such, or maybe even your office, if you're listening right now and you're a business owner and be like, hey, you know what? I could use a little updating with the flooring game and in our office there. Carpet City Flooring Center can help you out there too. So go check them out. Go visit them. They're fantastic people to work with over there. Ben, Jason, Aaron, whoever you may be talking to over there, they're fantastic. So Carpet City Flooring Center, Wisconsin's premier flooring store. Let's talk some baseball to open up things here on the leadoff. By the way, in case you're wondering, which I don't know if anybody really is at this point in time, but I saw it on MLB.com, so I might as well just bring it up. Playoffs started today. In case you're wondering, Brewers would be in it. I mean, they're leading the division right now. In fact, they would be the third seed taking on the Giants. So, in case anybody's wondering, I don't think anybody's really paying attention to that at that point, but hey, never know. So, but Brewers last night falling to the Cubbies in a pitching duel. Final score of 6-3 in 10 innings. Cubs putting up a solo shot in the third inning there off of Bryce Terang. That was the only run off of Bryce Terang, or excuse me, Bryce Terang, Freddie Peralta. Yeah, I'm assuming they probably would get a couple home runs off Bryce Terang. But solo shot off of Freddie Peralta in the third inning. Peralta, though, couldn't quite get through 6. Still had 11 strikeouts in the game. But his counterpart, Brown, last night, that kid was dealing, man. 7 innings, no hit ball, 10 strikeouts for himself. But no decision because Brewers were able to finally get some hits going, and they tied it up in the ninth thanks to Willie Adames hitting Christian Yelich home. So we go 1-1. 1-1 heading into the 10th, and that's where things kind of fell apart. Brewers giving up 5 runs. Peguero issuing 3 walks. Did strike out a couple as well, but Miguel coming in, and now he's going to be having some MRIs done on his elbow. But he gave up a run. Milner gave up 3 earned runs as well. So, I mean, it was a little bit of a struggle for the back end of the bullpen in yesterday's game. Brewers tried to inch their way back. They put up a couple runs in the bottom frame of that 10th inning, but not enough, obviously. Earlier on in the game, Willie Adames looked like maybe he was going to stop the no-no from happening with the solo shot, but kind of have to tip your cap. Cody Bellinger made a fantastic catch at center field, robbing a home run from Willie Adames. So, series is now tied at 1 apiece. And we got game 3 coming up tonight. And boy, this is going to be a tough one for the crew. Imanaga, who has been fantastic. I mean, one of the best, if not the best, pitcher in baseball so far this season. 5-0. 5-0 with a .84 ERA. This kid has been lighting it up. I should say he's 30 years old, but I mean, the guy has been just dominant so far. Just dominant, especially in the month of when you look at the month of May here. if his offense, we talked about it yesterday, Cubs offense has kind of been struggling here and not putting up a ton of runs and such. If he would have, I mean, first of all, he's 5-0, but if he would have a little bit more run support, he probably would have like a couple more wins in the month of May, and maybe we're talking about 8-0, 9-0 record right now. Because you look at it in the month of May, the guy has pitched 4 games. He started 4 games. He's 1-0 with a .69 ERA. His lone win, his last win, came back on May 1st against the Mets when he went 7 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, struck out 7. But here's his other lines. Padres, May 7th, 7 innings, 2 earned runs, 8 strikeouts, no decision. Atlanta, 5 innings, did have 7 hits, gave up 7 hits, but no earned runs, 8 strikeouts. And then he gets Pittsburgh. 7 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs. In 4 starts in the month of May, he has given up a total of 2 earned runs, and those 2 earned runs came in 1 game. Back in April, when he made 5 starts, he was 4-0 with a .98 ERA, a total of 3 earned runs. This guy has been absolutely lights out. An incredibly tough test for this Brewers offense. That here's a number too. To kind of put this in perspective. So we know Brewers offense last couple days, especially, it's been pitching duels, right? They've kind of struggled a little bit here to put up some runs here. But this Brewers offense, for whatever reason, has kind of struggled so far this year against Cubs starting pitchers. Where's the nugget? But they haven't scored a run on Cubs starting pitchers. Let's see if I can find it here. I thought I said, yeah. This was through 6 innings, so it's probably at 32 innings now, 32 and a third. But this was from Kurt Hogg, who covers the Brewers yesterday, when Brown was no-hitting the Brewers through 6 innings with 8 strikeouts. Tally up to 31 and a third innings, where the Brewers have not scored against Cubs starters this year. And now you've got this guy coming in who has been lights out this season. And this team's already kind of struggled to put up runs against starters. Huge test for this offense. Huge test. I'll be honest, I'm not feeling great about it. I mean, I hope it's one of those games where Imanaga is struggling. Finally has a game where he's struggling a little bit with his command, with his location. Maybe the Brewers offense is aggressive early, going after him. But I got to imagine it's probably not going to be, again, a typical Brewers top of the order lineup since he's a lefty. Will that mean Andrew Monasterio getting the start and being the leadoff hitter? Bryce Terang still in the lineup? If he is still in the lineup, does he go down to the bottom, kind of like he was, in the game against Steele, and then Contreras was your leadoff hitter. So, the fact that he's a lefty here too, it kind of puts the Brewers, their offensive lineup, maybe not putting out their best offensive lineup out there either. They're their best players. So it's going to be a tough matchup tonight for this offense going up against this guy who's just been fantastic, super fantastic. Best starter. If he's not the best starter, easily one of the best starters so far this year. So I think if you're the Brewers offense, I mean, do you try to be aggressive early? I think you got to try to be aggressive early and maybe try to tack on some runs early. And you're almost going to have to play mistake-free, error-free baseball again. Runs probably going to be really hard to come by. So that's going to put more pressure on the defense. It's going to put more pressure on Wilson, who's getting the start for the Crew tonight. And Wilson has been pretty darn solid, given that, Bryce Wilson was supposed to be bullpen, long long relief type of role. Kind of got stretched out, did get stretched out, I should say, into a starter role. And, he's coming off of a win against Boston where he went 5 1/3, 2 earned runs, and struck out 7. I mean, he's been putting together some pretty darn good games, some solid performances. In the month of May, he has started 4 games. He's 1-0 with a 2.70 ERA. In April, with a mixture of relief appearances and games started, he was 2-1 with a 2.28 ERA. I mean, overall this year, Bryce Wilson 3-1, 2.86, 13 games, 6 of them starts. Solid numbers, but it gets overshadowed quite a bit when you're going up against a guy who's 5-0 with a .84 ERA. And you factor in, for whatever reason, the Brewers offense hasn't been able to hit Cubs starters this season. Don't know what it is. Get a little Joe Boo action out there and try to take the curse off the bats. Bats need hats, that sort of thing. Sacrifice a live chicken. I don't know what you got to do, but I think you got to be a little bit aggressive maybe tonight and maybe try to put up some runs early. Or do you try to, get them high in the pitch count? But defensively, you're going to have to play error-free baseball. Wilson's going to have a fantastic game tonight. Runs are going to be hard to come by. He's going to have to play, mistake-free, not miss on a ton of pitches. So, given the fact that for a while now the Cubs offense has been in a little bit of a slump, we may have another pitching duel tonight. Maybe a low-scoring game tonight between these two ball clubs. And it might be who's going to make the first mistake. But I think if you're the Brewers, you got to try to get to that bullpen and try to get Imanaga out of the game. And maybe that's being a little bit aggressive early on. Man, it's going to be a tough one, though. But we'll see. First pitch tonight, 6:05. Whoever wins tonight, they will ensure themselves of at least a split in this series, and then put their teams in a position to win the series tomorrow. Tomorrow's game, 12:10. First pitch between the Brewers and the Cubs. Quick updates where things stand right now in the standings here. It's still Brewers up first place in the division over the Cubbies by 3.5 right now. Cardinals hanging around there 4.5 back. Pittsburgh 6 back. Reds now 7.5 back from first place. So. Does this Brewers offense, though, do they have enough? Do they have enough to not only carry them to the postseason, but win a series, maybe even make a deep run into the postseason? That was a question we asked for this week's. Still got to come up with a creative name on it. I think I'm going to go with something like The Verdict Is In or maybe a little Sports Talk Nation. Although it is a complete playoff from the old show Sports Nation that used to be on the mothership. Remember that? Michelle Beadle, Colin Cowherd had it. Man, how many years ago was that? It's over like 15? We were watching it in high school, for crying out loud. 20? It's got to be 20 then, because my high school reunion's coming up, and that's 20. So, wow. Holy crap. But no, topics, they would debate it and then have poll questions, and we would all vote on it and all that sort of stuff. So kind of our own spin on it. But the question we put out there was how it's currently constructed. Is this Brewers offense good enough to get to the postseason, but not just get to the postseason, maybe win a series, win a couple series? Because I think if you're a Brewers fan, it's not about just getting to the postseason anymore. It's about winning some games in the postseason now, right? It's about winning a series. It's been a while since, 2018, since Brewers won a series in the postseason. They've been in the postseason. They just haven't won a game there. Or they've won a game, but they haven't won a series. Brewers, top 5 in a lot of major statistical categories in terms of offense across Major League Baseball. Top 5, top 10. So, is it good enough? What do you think? We'll tell you how the nation voted after this quick break. All right. If you didn't have a chance to vote, you can text us your thoughts on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line. Summer traveling, got any trips planned, maybe some road trips or anything like that, make sure your vehicle is ready to hit the road. You can do that by taking it to our good friends from ASAP Used Auto Parts in Eau Claire. Not only do they have high quality used auto parts, so maybe if you're doing some repairs on your vehicles, or maybe you're kind of remodeling a vehicle, you need to save some money, but want some high quality used parts, ASAP Used Auto Parts can help you out over there too. But also oil changes, new tires to help you hit the road and keep your car functioning properly, especially when we get to really into the summer, hotter weather, muggier weather, and such. So, if you need to get that oil change, or you need to update some of those tires, get some new treads on your wheels, for your wheels, I should say. Head on over to our good friends at ASAP Used Auto Parts. Make your appointment for that oil change and to get some new tires. All right. Do you think this Brewers offense is good enough? Good enough to not only get to the postseason, but to maybe win a series, make a deep run of the postseason? We asked our listeners on our social media pages a couple days ago as part of our Sports Talk Nation poll, and the verdict is in. 62% of you say yes. That yes, you believe that the Brewers offense, how it's currently constructed, and we're going to factor in Rhys Hoskins being in the lineup too. But you believe the Brewers offense is good enough to not only get to the postseason, but to win those games, or to win some games in the postseason. And when you look at it, where the Brewers rank across Major League Baseball, they're top 5, top 10 in a lot of the offensive categories. OPS, this is all across Major League Baseball, not just National League. OPS, Brewers are tied for 5th with the Baltimore Orioles at 739. Your leader across baseball is the Yankees at 770. Slugging percentage, Brewers are 7th at 410. The leader, the Yankees, 436. On base percentage, the Brewers are 4th, 329. Number 1, Yankees, 334. Just your good old-fashioned batting average, Brewers, 6th highest in Major League Baseball, 251. Your leader, the Astros, 261. So just 10 points back. RBIs, Brewers, 7th with 253. Your leader is the Phillies at 278. Home runs, Brewers down a little bit from these last couple games here. It looks like a few games here, but they're still top 10. They're at number 9 with 62. Your leader, the Yankees, 82. Runs scored, Brewers, 6th. 6 with 266 runs scored in 54 games. Leader is the Phillies in 56 games at 293. Put in a little perspective here, too. Brewers with 54 games, 266. The Dodgers have played 3 more games, and they have 12 more runs than the Brewers. So, top 5, top 10 in a lot of offensive categories, right? I think it's fair to say this offense is a lot better than last year, maybe a lot better than the last couple of years. They're getting it done in multiple ways. Stealing bases, being aggressive on the base paths. The Brewers right now, 3rd in Major League Baseball in steals. The two teams higher than them, Cincinnati Reds. I mean, you got Ellie De La Cruz over there. They're at 84. Washington's 84. Then you got the Brewers at 72. So they're stealing bases, but they're also displaying some power. When they're healthy and they got their typical, normal, go-to lineup of 1 through 5, I like their 1 through 5. I like Turang hitting at the leadoff. He gets on. He's aggressive, stealing some bases. You got Contreras right behind him. Yelich in the 3 spot. Willie Adames, Rhys Hoskins, 4-5. I'm good with that top 5 if they're playing like they're playing right now. We've seen that they can be a very efficient, high level offense at a lot of times this year. So I would agree with the majority. with the 62% of you that said yes, the Brewers offense is good enough to get them to the postseason and perhaps even win a series. I believe that. We're not talking about pitching here. We're just focusing on the offensive side because I think we would all agree. I think we would all agree that pitching, you probably want some more arms in there. Want some more health, right? You want them to get a little bit healthier. Maybe another starter or two to add in there. Maybe to improve the depth there too. So I don't think there's any question about it. Majority, if not all, Brewers fans would agree that, if when it comes to the trade deadline, biggest need is probably acquiring more pitching. That's priority one. But right now, if they stand pat on the offensive side, I think they've got enough. Now, I won't complain if they decide to hey, let's maybe bring in another bat and really make this a top to bottom, threat lineup threat up there. Because let's face it, if you do have to face a team like the Dodgers or something like that, you're going to have to score a lot of runs, and you might get into some shootouts and that sort of stuff. And don't think they have the pitching staff to kind of slow down some of these top offensive teams. The pitching staff has done a fantastic job, given the players that have been asked to really step up and a lot of the injuries they've been dealt with. But overall, I think the offense is good enough to get to the postseason. Sure, add in another bat or two. I'm not going to complain about it. Won't complain too much about it. But right now, I think they're good. I think to me, it's easily not the biggest need for this team. Once we get closer to the trade deadline, and you start to hear some more rumblings, rumors, about possible trade targets and that sort of thing. So. All right. Coming up next hour, we'll get back to some more baseball talk as well. Getting ready for tonight's game, which again could be potentially another low-scoring pitching duel until they get to the bullpens. Maybe coming up here. So, but we'll get back to some more baseball talk. We've got a little hoops chat. Timberwolves staying alive. They're staying alive right now with a win last night against the Dallas Mavericks. So that series has been extended with the win last night. Boston still waiting to see if they will face Dallas, or can the Timberwolves somehow make a remarkable comeback. But Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards combined for 54 points to lead the Timberwolves to a 105-100 victory. Also, Stanley Cup playoffs. Got Florida taking down New York 3-2 in overtime to even up that series 2 apiece. Got Edmonton in action tonight going up against the Dallas Stars. They're going to try to even up that series at 2 apiece as well. We'll throw a little football talk in here too to finish up the first hour here. So in case you didn't hear, we mentioned it really quick because it came in at the end of the program yesterday. But Tom Pelissero from the NFL Network kind of reported this, and I'm sure you probably heard about it yesterday and such. But there is some chat now, some thoughts about potentially altering how the NFL offseason will look as early as next season, next offseason. Let me bring up what Tom first had tweeted out yesterday here, because it is significant in the calendar year, if you will, for the NFL and for football here. So this is what Tom had said. End of OTAs. The NFL Players Association is working to finalize a proposal to overhaul the offseason starting as soon as 2025, eliminating voluntary on-field work in the spring in favor of a longer training camp ramp-up, with players reporting in mid-June to early July. The union has been seeking feedback on the plan from players, a majority of whom support the change. A formal proposal is expected this summer. Off-season work rules are collectively bargained, and any changes would require an agreement with the NFL. As he goes on to say, too, basically the idea would be to roll an extended OTA style ramp up, strength and conditioning, non-padded work, etc., straight into training camp without a 6-week break, de-escalation in between. So, you got these OTAs, mini camps, that sort of stuff. Then you get, as he said, their 6-week break, and then it's training camp, kind of that lull. They're talking about going straight into it. Some have said a lot of like front office coaches, maybe even some players won't be in favor of this because maybe they take those few weeks off and do a little vacation and spend some time with the kids and the family before going to training camp and that. I know Pat McAfee said they did something similar during COVID. I believe most of the guys loved it for their bodies and such going into training camp. The question I would have, and this is something they'd figure out, but my question would be like, so because for Green Bay's purposes, they were notorious. Andrew Brandt was the guy who I believe started this. These bonuses, workout bonuses. Green Bay has notoriously always been a franchise, a team that has given up or has given some high workout bonuses to try to get players to come to Green Bay in the offseason to work out with the team. Remember last year, the story was Jair gave up $700,000 in workout bonuses. And that's why you see Green Bay have a lot of really good attendance when it comes to OTAs and that with offseason workouts because they give away the most money. I'll be curious with that, how that changes now. How much does that change? Because then you factor in, workout bonuses are part of salary cap hits and that sort of stuff, but does that change a little bit there? That was kind of the first thing that came to my mind. I know it's probably not that big of a deal in the bigger picture of things. But that was the first thing I thought. I was like, okay, Green Bay usually gives out a ton of money for players to come back in the offseason. Now they're going to be kind of forced to. Does it actually help Green Bay where maybe they don't have to give, kind of big offseason workouts like that? Something to kind of keep an eye on, though. So essentially what it would be is, we were talking about OTAs last week. No more. But pre-training camp, if that's what we're going to call it, could potentially begin at the end of June, early July for that whole month, and then training camp starts. Just nonstop practice. That seems like a lot of practice without a lot of breaks in there between, but we'll see how it all plays out. But that was kind of what what kind of broke yesterday at the back end of our program there. So just in case nobody heard about it yesterday. All right, coming up next hour, we're going to talk about, we're going to get back to some baseball talk here. Oh, man, that door scared the crap out of me, Morgan.
Wow, I'm like the Kool-Aid man. Oh, yeah. Bursting through the wall.
Moly.
It's not a gentle entry. You know what I've realized about myself as I get older? The more I try to be quiet, the worse it is. Like if somebody's sleeping in the house and you get up before them and you're like, maybe I'll just unload the dishwasher, do something like that. It's always a complete disaster. Like every pot falls to the floor and it sounds like somebody's blending gravel. Yeah. I am the worst at trying to be quiet.
Yeah.
So coming into the door like that,
welcome. Well, that door's warped, I think, so it doesn't really.
Yeah, it does make a little bit of a like you're walking into the gates of hell when you open it.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Fitting. Nice new hat, Man Cave Podcast.
It's not new.
It looks new to me.
Everything that I wear is new.
That's because it kind of is.
I do have new shoes on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's see them. You got to go. You make you run faster. Everybody knows you run faster in new shoes. Let me see.
Okay, I got them on sale.
It's flip-flop day.
I don't know.
Okay, what is it? Let me see. Let me see. Hold them up for the cameras. Whoa, you got the Nike. You got the Packer Blazers.
Yep.
Yeah.
The high tops. They were on sale.
How do you feel about them? Good choice.
I like them, yeah.
Are they breaking in okay?
Yeah.
Good. It's a statement. I'll allow it. And
got them yesterday in the mail.
You should post them. Coming up on that. Are you getting itchy for football, or are you still okay to hang with the baseball?
I'm okay to hang with baseball, although Hudson wanted me to wear these at his game yesterday, and I said no.
They're not out for the dirt. Well, it was raining on and off, too. You could have dealt with those conditions.
He asked why, and I said, I don't want to get dirty. He's like, what's the purpose of shoes then?
Thank you. But I have to say, if you're struggling with the Blazers, maybe you found this out this morning, judging from my daughter and her friends, you're going to need to tack about 15 extra minutes onto your prep time just to get them on and tied.
Yeah,
because
these were hard to get on.
yeah,
I
my
will say,
daughter
yeah.
has made us late on more than one occasion
Yeah.
because she was tying up her
I've
blazers.
never had high tops like this before.
You haven't?
Mm-mm.
Now you got to wear
No.
them with the tall white Nike socks and the swoosh.
No.
Oh, that's where we're at. I'm telling you, you
I'm
can't
not-
go halfway in, man. You got to go full on with the
Not bringing
fashion.
back crew socks. No.
Commit.
No.
Commit. So, what? You're an ankle socks guy
Yes.
all the time, no
Yes.
exception. Why is that?
I can't stand crew socks anymore. I'm sorry, but I feel like an old man if I'm wearing crew socks.
They're everywhere now.
No.
The worst, I am all about the crew socks, but any socks, ankle, crew, knee, if they're crooked in my shoe, the world will stop because
See,
crooked socks are the
I
worst.
saw this picture. I don't know if you've seen like there's Facebook pages like the 90s or something like that, and there's like these remember these from your childhood.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought it was stupid stuff that I did as a kid, but I'm so glad to see it. So there was a picture the other day where it was like the original ankle socks. So if you had tube socks or crew socks, but
Yeah.
you like
Roll them down.
roll them down, or you had them like stuffed at the top of the toe of your shoe.
Oh, yeah.
To show like I was like, oh yeah, I did that.
Oh, everybody knows if you got a nice clean roll on the sock.
Mhm.
That's what you should post with your shoes today. You got those new kicks? Bring it back.
No.
Bring it back, Kasper.
Second hour kicking off on this Wednesday morning. Got to get my days right with the short week here, but second hour kicking off on this Wednesday morning. Big thanks for making us part of your starts wherever you're listening to us from. We're gonna get back to some more Brewers talk coming up a little bit later on here. Brewers game 3 against the Cubbies tonight. It's going to be a tough one though, as they're going up against Imanaga from the Cubbies, who's 5-0 with a .83 ERA. He has been absolutely electric this year, and maybe if he had a little bit more run support from his offense, he probably would have a few more wins on that record there too. So we'll get to that coming up. As I said a little bit later on, we got a business of sports coming up at the about an hour, a little under an hour from now, brought to you by Security Financial Bank. But we're going to kick off this hour with a little classes in session. Once in a while, we do this little history nuggets here. But in case you didn't see it last night, it was announced that today, Major League Baseball is going to integrate Negro League statistics into its historical records. So we know when it comes to baseball and sports in general too, but when it comes to baseball, stats and records and all that are a big thing. And this is a pretty big deal when you add some of these numbers in, and it's a big deal for maybe some people who didn't know the name or don't know too much about a guy like Josh Gibson. Josh Gibson, who, if you know your baseball history, one of the better players in baseball history. But spent his career with the Negro Leagues, and now with his numbers from the Negro Leagues being incorporated, he's going to be first in some of these statistical categories out there. For one, he's going to be as a result of, because they're going to integrate him today on Wednesday. He is now the all-time leader in career batting average, 372, beating out Ty Cobb's 366. New leader in slugging percentage, 718, beating out Babe Ruth's 690. And OPS, 1.177, beating out Babe Ruth's 1.164. Gibson will also be the new single season leader in those categories. In fact, he, in a couple of them, slugging percentage and OPS, not only will he be number one, but like slugging percentage, he'd have the third highest, and in an OPS, he'd still have the second highest out there. I know a couple of you mentioned too about his home run numbers, closer to 800 on that. Got to remember though too, when he was playing and the Negro Leagues playing there too, they also played against other leagues and like semi-pro teams and such. So those numbers don't count. It's league numbers in the Negro Leagues over there too. So that's why, career-wise, he's going to get credited with, I believe it's 166 home runs. So there is that talk out there that he hit close to 800. But remember, these numbers are going to be from league games and not just, other games against like semi-pro teams and others. So that's a distinction we got to remember on this here too. But nonetheless, that's a big moment in baseball history to incorporate these numbers.
Well, it kind of makes me think of like the I don't want to say it's a debate because it really isn't. But we've talked before about what's the legitimacy of championships in the NFL pre-Super Bowl. People will be like, oh, this team's never won a championship. But yeah, they actually won a bunch of championships, but it wasn't a Super Bowl. Well, what? Well, okay, if we're going to call that like the pre-Super Bowl era, because you're not counting AFL teams, you're not counting all those other opportunities. Of course, different of teams versus a race of players, an ethnicity of players. There's a big difference there. But in effect, we're talking pre-1947, post-1947. So you got to like throw everything into this too. All those players that could have changed the stats of pre-47 Major League Baseball, the American League and National League Baseball. It all counts. And they're plenty good players. They were kept out solely because they were black. So let's count that. That makes a lot of sense. Josh Gibson, thankfully, has become much better known for his contributions for how great of a player he was. And good to see it reflected in the actual record books. I find some of the neat things about this, like Willie Mays getting an extra 10 hits
Yeah.
Minnie Minoso now has 2,000. Jackie Robinson got some extra hits from the Kansas City Monarchs time, of course. Obviously, it's 49 more. We're not talking something that puts someone like there are 3,000 game or 3,000 strikeout, or one of those, a 300 game winner, 3,000 strikeout winner, one of those classic Hall of Fame thresholds, where if you're one short, you're not a Hall of Famer, but if you are, then you're a lock. We don't have anything like that, but it's good that we're covering more of legitimately good professional baseball.
Well,
simple as that.
And I think it's a credit and a shout out to whoever did this that kept these statistics back then, right? I mean, otherwise
it wasn't easy to do.
Right. And if they hadn't, they're probably not going to be incorporated. Because I go back to, I mean, it wasn't that long ago when you think about it. Like, I mean, early NFL, early 60s, they didn't keep sack numbers. That's why a lot of people speculate, what did Willie Davis actually get? I know Pro Football Reference is trying to go back and doing all that. But this is a credit to those who said, hey, let's keep these numbers and keep these statistics. And they did a fantastic job with it. Because you don't do that back in the 30s and the 40s. That's probably not a thing right now. Let's be real. They're probably not incorporated.
Well, and part of it, because
you can't go back on film and watch every game.
Nope. As much, like what Aaron Schatz has been doing, but doing retroactive DVOA. You have to have full game footage. And at a certain point, not every videotape survived, and NFL Films was not filming every game, and there's probably not as many like full archival film clips, film reels stored. So that's why it only goes back to like 1981. I mean, before that, it starts to get a little sketchy. So at some point you have to stop because you can't have you have to have everything or nothing at all. So and that gets a little tough with the Negro Leagues. Like the 20s are covered pretty well, but Great Depression newspaper coverage falls off. And so there are going to be some stats from the 30s that we'll never know for sure, just because there wasn't as much coverage because the nature of the country was such you couldn't afford to run a newspaper in a lot of instances because of the Depression. So we're not going to know everything, but we know we've got more included in the picture than we did before, and it's still a process. If they uncover more information, if they can verify more stuff, numbers will slightly change more. Like again, we're not going to have some dramatic change at this point. The big change was today, but good that they corrects the record a little bit more, and gets Josh Gibson a little bit more proper stature.
I think he's going to get quite a bit more just from a casual baseball fan that probably doesn't know who Josh Gibson is. And I hope now that, like, when you're watching a telecast, right, and they'll say, hey, these are if somebody's just on a tear, like let's say single season batting average or something like that, and if somebody's approaching 400 or something like that, you're gonna see his name up there now.
Yes,
you're gonna see that, like, oh, here's a number. Whereas before, you didn't see that before.
When it gets casually dropped, that's the thing. Like coming in on Josh Gibson's record. Well, that's and no one gives any context to that. At some point, there won't be, in the short term, there will be context of, wait, why are you saying Josh Gibson's name in this? Oh, because of Well, after a few years, that goes away. You're like, oh, so if you don't know, well, then you look it up, and then you're going to be guided right to his Negro League numbers. There you go. All right, that is what that is.
Right, exactly. I'm glad you said it's that casual drop in, right? Because it's going to have. We see that how many times in games when somebody's on just a fantastic pace, or who was the player from the Marlins last year that was is he going to hit 400 for the season? I'm blanking.
Oh, Luis Arias.
Yes, thank you. When they flash his numbers up there, if it was this year, now you got to put Gibson's name up there as number one,
right? Which
I'm all for. Big
mean,
thumbs up.
Granted, like some of the stuff, like the season record slugging percentage, 974.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I don't know if anyone's going to come anywhere close to that. I mean, some of these numbers are ridiculously good, but that's because they were ridiculously good. That's the thing. These are huge numbers. Then sure, you can debate. Would Josh Gibson have slugged 974 if he were playing for the Yankees? Well, maybe for the Yankees, I don't know. But what if you were taken in by? Trying to think of one of the lesser teams of that era. So like maybe the Phillies. Remember, the Phillies were a bad team for a long time. Even with his talent, probably, and with the whole pool of good players, Probably doesn't hit 974, but he's probably getting pretty close to the record anyway, if not still getting the record. So at least it says this guy was really good this year. That's really what this is about. It's the context of who was good in what era. And now we know.
Right.
With an imprimatur of this is official.
Right. And I hope Major League Baseball does more to really showcase more of these players now that it's officially going to be in the record books and such. I hope they do a little bit more. And I know they've got, was it that June 20th game coming up where they're really I think they're going to do some stuff there from what I was reading a little bit earlier this morning too, like really kind of, I think, unveil it.
Rickwood Field between the Cardinals and the Giants.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's kind of maybe like even though it's today, they're putting it, but like the unveiling, it might be on that day is from my understanding a little bit there, which I hope that's the case too. I really do, because I mean, when you start talking about this guy and you compare him to Ty Cobbs and Babe Ruth and that's pretty darn good company, I'd say. Not too bad. Not too bad.
Yeah.
So
it's good.
I like it. I know the other question is like, can they do this? Again, it just depends on did they keep enough statistics and numbers?
Yeah.
To go back then.
Yeah, and
it still boggles my mind. The NFL never thought to keep sacks for the longest time, and now look at it.
82.
Right. Exactly. Like, that just boggles my mind.
And you can kind of retroactively do it. And I know there's been, I can't remember which organization is kind of, was it like Pro Football Focus or one of those that went back and retroactively figured out a lot of them? I
thought it was Pro Football Reference that did that.
Yeah, that's it. So, I mean, we've got a better idea. And I like in those cases, I hope the NFL accounts for that. It's still, every time I see the only dates back to 82. And then like what in the Packer yearbook, I think they have, correct me if I'm wrong, because in the back they have the all-time team records. Don't they have like some unofficial numbers in the sacks? And then they have, that's where I usually see it. And then they have the asterisk NFL stats or sack stats not official till 82. I think they account for that. And maybe they were taking that from Pro Football Reference or something like that. But it would be good to find some way to legitimize that. The more information we have, the more complete history we have for anything is good. So count that as well. So right. I do like this.
Yeah, because I'm going back to Willie Davis here. This was from 2021. That because I think Clay Matthews is still like the franchise leader in sacks, but really Willie Davis had more. And couple guys, it was John Turney and Nick Webster of the Pro Football Researchers Association gave Pro Football Reference the confidence to add sack statistics from 1960 to 1982. Clay Matthews is currently the all-time leader in sacks at 83.5. According to the new stats, Davis actually holds the mark at 93.5. But the data from 1960, this was from a couple years ago, isn't yet registered, meaning he probably has closer to 100 total sacks based on that. So
yeah, that absolutely should be made official too.
I agree.
And I'm not sure if there's any particular reason for a holdup, or maybe whatever organization just hasn't gotten around to it. They have other things going on, and that's probably the reason for that. They want absolute verification, because if you're taking away a record, you want to make sure there is no question why after the fact the record goes away. If it turns out, oh wait, that really wasn't a sack. Oh well, now you've got now everything is questionable. That's why it took a while for Major League Baseball to make sure the Negro League stats were proper. Remember, this started a few years ago. I remember hearing about it, and then it went quiet for a while, probably because they wanted to make sure they had all the stuff right. And again, they as they said, like what was the one example in the story that they could not verify, like a Willie Mays home run? Oh yeah, the 4 home run game from Gibson. Couldn't verify it. There's not a complete game account. So you need to make sure you've got all that stuff. Like, okay, do we have this? Here's all the data. Here's all the evidence. Cool. This is legit. This is not legit. We can't confirm that this happened. They need to make sure everything is set before rolling out the numbers, because, well, now the number is, again, 372 over 367. That's the number. You need to know that that's the batting average. Yep.
Really quick, Pro Football Reference, I looked up Willie Davis. They do have it going back to 1960 now. So he's at 99.5. But remember, he also played 2 years in Cleveland before he went to Green Bay. I don't know if anybody really recognizes that or remembers that. They don't have anything from 1958 to 1959. So career-wise, he's probably over 100. But for the Packers, they've got it 99.5 career sacks. So.
Is anyone of any organization that's tried to go before 1960?
I'm not quite sure.
I know, like that's almost because when an NFL film's kind of the nascent version of NFL films. That was not 1960, but it was not long after.
No, I mean because what is it? It was right around Super Bowl I, Super Bowl II is when they first started to get going. So because they had, if I know my history right,
I'm looking up the Wikipedia page here,
but careful with that.
I know, but when it, presuming it loads, but I remember there was like something I remember reading or watching the doc on them, and it was probably one of the Sable docs. It might have been one of the, was it the 30 for 30? I'm trying to remember what it was.
Or maybe A Football Life.
Yeah, it was one of those two, but that documented the history. 1962, that's what it was.
Yeah, because remember too, like the big old deal is they don't have the full on. Apparently, they don't have the full on, or they just found it the Super Bowl I. Remember?
Oh, right. Well,
the video.
Well, right, because that's the TV broadcast that one guy is holding out and won't let anyone watch it. I understand his reasons, but come on, I want to watch the game. Really? It was 1962 because Ed Sable won the bidding rights to film that game for $5,000. And that's what got that going. And by 1965 or so, it was named NFL Films, and there it goes from there.
Yep.
So it all began because of all of that and Sable recording Steve Sable's high school football games.
Right. Yep.
That was it.
It's a really good football life on Ed. There's a one on Ed and one on Steve, I believe. So really good ones if anybody wants to check it out.
So all this means that 50s football, and I know it's 60s also kind of convenient because expansion, AFL. But yeah, there's not that much from the 50s.
So what this means, though, too, is that, again, for everybody that still goes to a game and keeps book, job well done. Because now you got records for everything. It's still 2024, but people still keep books. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
You never know, right?
Yeah, true. If you got it on paper, and what if somehow everything electronic gets blown up, which it's not. But what if it did? Well, you got a paper record, and you, writer downer person, and at Lambeau Field, you're going to come in handy. For real, you will come in handy. So keep that stuff.
Does anybody keep book when they go to a Major League Baseball game still? I'm curious to know if anybody listening still does that.
I did scorekeeping for a while, and then I'd missed something or whatever. Now I don't. But I wasn't like a hardcore about it. Plus, I'd have to remind myself of how it worked as the game was going along, and the pencil stub would be kind of off, and then I'd get something wrong. Like, wait, I can't read what I did. But I've stopped. I'm curious. I know there are people that do, but I'm curious who is doing it.
By the way, just really quick, so I went to the Packers website to see if they acknowledge 1960, 61. They do not.
Okay,
it's not listed. If you go, you can click on 1920. They go all the way back. Some of their numbers. They go, 1921. They got offensive numbers, but really some of the defensive numbers, when you look at, is interceptions they keep track of. But when you look at sacks, zeros across the board.
Interesting.
Yeah. So for example, 1960, let me go back to 1960 here. Top defense, Willie Davis tackles 0, sacks, Willie Davis 0, interceptions, Jesse Winnington 6. So they kept interceptions, but not sacks or tackles.
I'm looking to see in the all-time list from Pro Football Reference when a Packer appears that went way back, and I'm going way down the list.
Well, they had Willie Davis in 1960 in Pro Football Reference. So Pro Football Reference has it, but
yeah, because I'm looking at other ones, like the unofficial leaders list. It's like Deacon Jones is 3rd. No surprise, the Purple People leaders are all top 25. Jim Marshall, Carl Eller, Alan Page. But that isn't Cedric Hardman. I know nothing about his career, but he's one of the top sack guys of all time. He he played for the Niners throughout the 70s. And yeah, at the beginning of the 70s, had a couple NFC championships, but those were some lean years. Those 71, he had 18, and they went to the NFC championship game, if memory serves me right. And he did win the Super Bowl with the Raiders in 80. But yeah, see, now that's another one. Peruse through that and learn a little bit more history. It changes your perspective when you see that.
Well, and it's interesting too, because I've got the 1960 team statistics up for Green Bay, and it just kind of tells you, like, so for example, first downs, rushing, passing by penalty, zeros across the board for the Packers, but they got it for their opponents. 74 first downs for rushing, 110 first downs for passing, 0 by penalty, which I don't know if it's true, but they don't have any listed for Green Bay, but they kept it for the opponents.
Okay.
Yeah. And here's another one here too. Where'd it go? Oh, turnover ratio. They got it for the Packers, 24, nothing for opponents.
Huh.
So it was like, hey, whatever we want to do for today, apparently. So
For what it's worth, Willie Davis in the full list, just behind Andre Tippett, Carlos Dunlap. Ezra Johnson actually shows up not that far behind him because, Willie Davis 99.5, but Ezra Johnson's at 96, right behind TJ Watt, who's obviously going to be ascending the list. And Warren Sapp is in that same zone as well.
Yeah. Interesting.
Mario Williams is right around there. Jethro Pugh.
Yeah. Yep.
Some legends.
Oh, good, interesting stuff.
So that's good. Yeah, these stats, it'll be worth perusing through them, deep diving in and seeing who's where now.
Yeah, it's just weird when I've got Willie Davis's line here and it's zeros across the board. Like he didn't get credit for anything.
Gosh.
Nothing.
I don't know why exactly that. There has to be some reason for that, but I don't know what it is.
They did interceptions. they kept track of interceptions. So, all right, let's take a quick break here. We'll be back with more. Don't forget, you can join in on the convo. Hit us up with some text, 715-830-1912. We'll be back after these quick words. Mobile Man Cave will be making its debut Friday nights at the Eau Claire Express game for Sports Talk Nights. We're going to do a little tailgating beforehand there, too. So stop on by, check it out. Big thanks to the Mobile Man Cave sponsors, Carpet City Flooring Center, Woods and Water Realty, the Elbow Room in Eau Claire, and Toyson Ford. Good friends over there at Toyson Ford there, too. So Hutzy and I spent some time the last couple days over Memorial Day weekend to put it all together, and we're ready to unveil it. Still waiting for... I might have to take down the Man Cave Light poster in the studio and maybe cut it up and put the Man Cave Light logo in there. That's the last thing I'm waiting on. I don't know if I want to do that because it's the release party poster, but desperate times call for desperate measures, timelines, and I need it to unveil it. So it's only right to put that in there. It does have a grill. Does have a grill.
That's good.
It does have a grill, and it does have a Sasquatch. So well, we got the bases covered. So
okay.
Mobile Man Cave, dude. I will say the putting green, I was warned by our good peeps at Carpet City Flooring Center, don't go on there like with shorts and bare knees. Yeah, they ain't kidding. That was a little rough at times, trying to roam around on some putting green turf carpet with bare knees. That's a little rough on the knees.
Because it's
so
I know putting green stuff is what it used to be called indoor outdoor carpeting, and it's not like AstroTurf, but imagine AstroTurf.
Yeah,
not field turf, not the modern stuff. We're talking like 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s stuff. That's in the ball. If anyone doesn't know it, yeah, it's no. It's not good.
Hudson was he's one thing he was pumped about. He could stand up in the back of that, so he could just walk around. He wasn't affected by it at all. So, but yeah, getting ready for that on Friday. Luke will be there doing the national anthem and such too. So, night at the ballpark at Carson Park. A couple texts here. Big Worm. If Tucker Craft towards Peck, how much of an impact will that have on our offense? Well, I mean, he's going to be ready for the regular season. I think they said last week, he may miss a little bit of the start for training camp, but he'll be ready, Big Worm, for the regular season. So I don't think it'll be that much of an impact on the offense there. Another texter, don't know the name. Front row Amy still keeps score, Dan. The games I've watched, I have not seen front row Amy. So does she still even go to game? I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't know. I don't know if she is still there. I don't watch a lot of them on TV, so maybe she is, but I don't know if she's still a thing or what.
Front row Amy. Let's see. Here we go. Looking up on the Twitter sphere. I still can't. I am getting close to saying X at this point, but not quite. Yeah, she's referring to games. Tweet from yesterday.
Okay.
Talking about my ticket for tonight's game is still available.
All right.
If I could go, I would, but I can't.
Okay, so she still is out there.
She is legitimately still there. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Still with good seats.
Good call for whoever that texter was, but yeah, she still keeps book. Wonder what she does with all those books, though.
Good question. I would sell them off, maybe. Not bad of an idea. If so, I mean, make like charity money or something like that.
I do have her Twitter up. She's got to update it though. I mean, for crying out loud, it's if you're a as she says, very passionate Brewers fan, it's not Miller Park anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
We all probably want that name, but it's not that
That's
anymore.
not it anymore.
Not that anymore.
No.
So gotta change it. Just saying.
Or maybe that's intentional.
It could be. It could be.
Maybe she's making a point.
Maybe she loves Miller Park, but not AmFam Field.
That's possible.
That sort of thing.
It doesn't help also that when you look up Front Row Amy, the first thing you see is the video from 2012 with Front Row Amy's replacement.
Yeah, that guy was awesome.
Yeah, and it really, if you've never seen the whole Front Row Amy thing, that really throws you off because like, wait, who? What? No. They led with the parody video. It's not it.
Yep. Yeah, I remember watching that, dude. I remember watching. I think I might have even posted a Facebook stats. I don't know, but yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah. She was like, is Front Row Amy still a thing? Like, no offense, but like, she was big in the early like 2000 teens.
She used to be a bigger deal. I mean, I hate putting it that way because like the first Journal Sentinel story when I just Googled Front Row Amy, and you see stories from 2011 and 2012, and then it jumps ahead to like a 2023 one.
Okay, so it's gone a little quiet.
Yeah. So it was definitely more of a thing. I think that was more like whoa, who's the hot chick keeping score? Was that thing was probably what a lot of people were saying back then.
I was. So,
No, exactly. So there you go. So that was a thing back then. It was like, ooh, what?
Yeah.
Not some like 40-something dude. And I'm a 40-something dude keeping score. Like, you're not going to write a story about me.
Any adults, by the way, besides Marty Green, go to baseball games and bring their gloves still?
I don't know. I don't.
Kids, I'm okay with. Adults, I don't know. Debatable at best.
I don't.
And I wouldn't.
Honestly, I don't feel passionate one way or the other, but I know that elicits a lot of passion. To the point where I'm more like, well, I just assume not. Plus, I'm also playing the odds on this. What are the odds that I'm going to be catching one? So why carry a glove with me?
But the thing is, it's almost like getting that extra insurance on your vehicle. Odds are you probably don't need it, but the thing is, if you don't get it, then you're probably going to need it.
That is true. Of course, then the other way of looking at it is if you can get the ball with your bare hand.
Oh, then you're more of a dude.
I know.
Yep.
Like,
especially if you got a kid in one arm and then you save the beer and you catch it barehanded.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the best one.
But like, let's be real, Luke. Can you do that?
Probably not. Okay. See, now I got a kid where I could try this. If my wife were listening, she'd be like, "Wait, what are we gonna start doing now?" Remember, I got hit in the arm by a foul ball at Carson Park. So I have been hit by a foul ball. I've never caught a foul ball.
Oh, I guess your awareness level needs to be increased. So
I know it's a little tricky looking into the sun at certain times, but you should be more aware. Look, if you're at a baseball game, it's on you.
Yep.
I don't care if you get blinded by the sun at any given game. It does not Carson any game. Watch. It's baseball. That you're there to watch the game, not to be chatting up. Hey, what's that hot dog you got? Sorry, that's your fault.
Brandon and I are going to be doing in the summer. I think it'd be a pod, but we're going to come up with our stadium rules and what you should and shouldn't do. So we might have to add that to that.
I will be very interested to hear how that one gets resolved. Very interested.
We already know the one. No waves. Just stop. Saw that during the was it the Red Sox game in Brewers? They were doing that. Like, oh boy.
Yeah, agreed.
And I had to explain to Hudson what that was, and it pained me. But
well, as long as Hudson doesn't start going like, "Hey, I think this is a good idea."
Oh no,
good.
Ban the wave. That's my presidential forum that I'll be running on is banning the wave.
You'd already be above RFK Jr. in the polls right there. Bam, 20%. He's banning the wave. We don't care. Just cool.
Banning the wave when your team's on offense.
Yes.
Done.
It's not difficult, people.
Nope. So, all right.
Also, don't scream your head off when they're on offense too.
That's the dumb. Oh, don't. I gotta save it.
Stop right now because we're gonna ruin the pod because we're gonna end up finishing this.
It boggles my mind when I'm at a Packer game and your team's going it for it on 4th down, and that's when you decide, hey, let's get up and get loud. Stop. Like, what are you doing? Like, what's going through? Yes, you're excited going for it on 4th down, but you get 2 seconds grace period to say, yeah, and then shut up. Be quiet after that. Now, if your team's on defense and the opposing team's going for it on 4th down, you better get your butt out of that seat. Oh, it all started, Brand and I got on a debate about, like, people, not really debate because him and I both agreed, people getting mad when you're standing up at a game at a stadium.
That thing.
Yeah. Because we've all been victims of harassment from people saying to sit down. No, you don't sit down.
Like I'm the guy that's always like looking behind me, like we're all good here. We're okay, we're up, yes. But because I don't want to be get yelled at by other guy, so I'm like, and she's trying to play the crowd a little bit, which gets a little dicey because then there's always like the one person behind you that won't stand up. You're like, great. So I got to sit because you're going to sit, but everyone else standing. Now I got to miss it, but you're going to sit and you're going to get angry if I stay. Oh, yeah, I know. We're wrecking the pod. I'm going to stop. Yeah. When is this pod going to come out?
Summer when there's absolutely nothing going on. So
like
July.
The second week of July. Like right before All-Star break, post free agency, that tiny window. Yeah.
Yep. But thank you to the NFL. They might change the entire offseason. So we'll have like training camp at the end of June now. So.
What do you think of that notion of that? Basically, I mean, move it up to the end of June, but then you're not going to be having all these mandatory mini camps. And voluntary, but yet still kind of required, but not. And all OTAs. So basically, from the end of April until the end of June is quiet time.
I'm surprised
Outside of rookie stuff.
Yeah, I'm surprised that if it is the case that the majority of players are in favor of this. I'm a little surprised on that because, I mean, if it is end of June, early part of July, that's nonstop football really then until perhaps February for some teams.
Yeah.
For what seems like players over the years with CBAs and them trying to cut down on practice time and that, and there'll be built-in breaks. It's not like every day they're going to practice, that sort of stuff. But to go for like a ramp up pre-training camp and then ready to train, I'm actually surprised they want to do this. I was reading from comments from yesterday from a lot of other people, like how some were saying like a lot of coaches and front office people are going to hate it. Like they don't want it to happen because that 6-week period is kind of like where I guess the majority of the time they get out of town and spend some time with families before the season starts, sort of thing. So I'm a little surprised. The other part of this to me is like, how does this factor in? I'm thinking like this for salary cap, but how does it factor in for workout bonuses now? Because Green Bay is notorious for being the team that gives out the most workout bonuses because they want to get Green players to Green Bay in the offseason. You factor that in a little bit too. So I don't know. I'm honestly surprised, and I know McAfee said players liked it during the COVID era because it was kind of a ramp up and getting a little bit more in shape and such. But to me, I'm still a little surprised they want to like go at it, do a little pre training camp ramp up and get ready to go, and because it sure seems like over the years they've really prioritized rest and recovery more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I guess the idea is, well, it's kind of like the school year for teachers. You don't get all the time off. It's not like the last day of school and you're doing literally nothing.
Well, then I should stop getting my teaching degree.
Yeah, because I mean, there's other stuff you have to do during the summer, but by and large, you do get several months. Several. I mean, you get a long time off, and then you're back into it for a while. So it's. I guess it's kind of more like that. But then it's also like the other leagues, too. They also start and go. Now, granted, they are also not as physically involved as the sport of American football compared to basketball or anything else. Those are there's more. They're more durable sports, I guess. You can do more because your body is not taxed as much. Just the nature of the game. But I mean, unless we want to do like a 1 month off period in the middle of the season, imagine that if football took a break, like after week 9, and we just took like a 3-week break and then started up again. Everyone gets a bye. No one has ever proposed that, and it just popped through my mind. What would you think if there was like, let's say, a 2 to 3 week
in the season,
mid-season pause?
Hate it. I hate it.
But
I don't know if players would like it though either. Coaches wouldn't. I don't think coaches wouldn't. Then you're talking about rust and all that.
Yeah, it's rest versus rust. That's the thing. But on the other hand, you have if
you do that, then you get rid of buys.
That's the thing, right? This would be the bye. But then every team is playing for every other week, and especially if you do this after like week.
So essentially what you're saying is everybody would have the same bye.
Exactly. And then you take like 2 weeks off. Like the NFL is going to suddenly be like persona non grata. No, it's the NFL. People will still be talking about content and stuff. So
it's like winter break.
Essentially, that's what it is. So take like the school year.
It's
J-term.
It's that, or it's spring break for a week.
Kind of, yeah, some variation of that. But theoretically, by having that extra rest in there, and again, by doing this for like a 2 to 3 week period as opposed to 1 week.
3 week would be too much.
Probably so. That's why I'm saying like 2 to 3. So probably a 2 week period, realistically. But then you have a better shot of having the top players available in the playoffs. That they don't get injured in week 17, probably not so much week 18 because you got a lot of rest there anyway.
But how big of a deal is that when the NFL, NBA it is? Obviously, we saw that. But, I mean, who was like the big last NFL big time player that was hurt and wasn't able to make the postseason and completely change their team? It's usually when you're saying it's quarterbacks.
We've had some sketchy quarterback matchups of late, but we haven't had a year like
a couple years ago was Miami when they were starting their third string, Skylar Thompson.
Right. I mean, but we haven't had a year like I mean, I hate to say it, but being in Wisconsin, but the 2021 NBA playoffs was probably the best example where everyone was dropping like flies except for the Bucks. And they had their injuries, but they managed to get through it. That's probably part of the reason. It's not the majority, but it's part of the reason they won the championship because there were so many other really good players that were injured that year. And we're not going to put an asterisk on that year, but those years occasionally happen. You could have a year like that in the NFL. So, but by that same token, are those injuries necessarily happening because you don't have a break in the middle? Maybe that makes no difference whatsoever. But I think the business folks in the NFL would like that. And that way, maybe you can spread the season out a little longer, maybe go a little later into February, start owning more of the calendar. That's what they're thinking. They want to own every day of the week of the year. 365 days of NFL everything.
Yeah.
Quickly, before we go to break, I was meaning to ask you this with the whole like, hey, because there was an AP story or whatever about the NFL expanding into more days of the week, the Wednesday thing, which I know it's not going to happen anytime soon. We're going to have 7 days of football. But if there were a primetime game every night of the week, the entire season from opening night until the last day of the season, and there was primetime Tuesday night football, and everything was there. So essentially you have 10 windows. You have 7 prime times, the 2 Sunday afternoons, and then probably a Sunday morning because they're going to start doing international football at some point, probably every week of the season. Of those 10 windows, how many will you watch? Now that's the max, which again, I don't know that ever will happen. But
so you're talking Tuesday night, Monday night, Sunday night,
Saturday night, Friday night, Thursday night, Wednesday night. Saturday morning, Saturday early afternoon, Saturday late afternoon.
I'll be honest. Let's play the averages. Probably 1, and that's if Green Bay's in it or not.
One of those 10 windows.
Well, Friday night probably watch one, regardless, because it's Friday night, and I have no life anymore. I don't go out. Saturday night, same reason. Sunday night would depend on if it was Green Bay. Same with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
So you're really more of a I'm watching for the Packers.
Yes.
With all of these
This
options.
is why it's another reason why I don't watch pregame shows. I can't do pregame shows. I can't. If it was team centered, I probably could.
See, in my opinion, you're an interesting kind of, I don't want to say canary in the coal mine because that means that something bad is about to happen, but an interesting gauge. Because I guess the idea here is if you're a real NFL fan, you're going to watch everything because you can't get enough NFL.
I love the NFL. I love football.
But at what point does it become like the NBA where you're like, oh, the game's on all the time. Well, I don't need to watch this.
And that's a question I had last week that we really didn't get into too much, but maybe we can bring it up again. It's like, is there such thing as too much of a good thing? I need a break when it comes to football and NFL. It's my number one thing. It's my number one sport. I love it. I love Packer football. I love Packer season. I love the draft more than anything. But I need a break. I need a break sometimes. So, and it's interesting too because I mean, let's face it, the NFL or football, college football in the NFL, there's different variations of the sport, right? There's AFL, there's whatever the XFL, and them are trying to do indoor arena. I mean, there's different variations to where the core of the game is trying to become a year-long thing, but I need a break after college and the NFL season. Mm-hmm. I need that break. As much as I love the game and love watching it and the history of it and all, I need a break.
Yeah.
I'm a very seasonal type of person. I've been that way my whole life. As I was a kid, Hudson's the same way. When it's baseball season, it's baseball season. When basketball's on, okay, I'm into basketball. But when it's football season. I go by the seasons. And right now, like summer, it's not going to be football for me. It's just not. I can't get into it until training camp hits around. And it's like, okay, now we go.
You can't talk about Dak Prescott every day.
No.
The whole year. Like, no, I can't.
I need that break. And I'm a believer that sometimes there is too much of a good thing and you can kind of overdo it. And I don't want to, I can't do that. So
interesting as this again, I don't know. This could be 20 years on. It may never happen, but I'll bet there are some folks in the NFL front offices that are like,
Well, the thing is,
I
we're
wonder if we
the
could.
ones to blame because we consume it.
Yeah, so stop. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly the thing. So stop watching, okay?
Right.
Stop watching.
Yeah.
I think for most people, it wouldn't matter that much, though, because most people are like you and like me. We watch our favorite teams, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm. Or if there's like just this premier matchup, like, oh, that's going to be a really good game.
Now, if there's 40 Packer games a season, well, okay.
I mean, dude, you're talking to the guy who just got new shoes that's green and yellow.
Yeah, there's that. So you maybe
You
you
know,
would,
so-
but there are a lot. But then people would start to pull back, and they're like, you can't watch 162 Brewer games. You try, but good luck watching all. Well, now 2.5 hours for a whole. That's a lot.
Mhm.
It's a lot to ask.
Yeah, I need my breaks.
Mhm.
So I guess I'm not a diehard.
Hater.
I am a hater. So all right,
What do you do? The wave at games now?
Yeah, probably. We gotta save that because I was gonna go on another tangent about season tickets, but I'll hold off on that.
Stop.
So, yep. All right, quick break, and we got to finish up the second hour coming up after these quick words. With summer around the corner, or it actually is here, and school's being let out, if you need to stock up the cupboards and the food pantries because of the kiddos staying home, look no further than our good friends from Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. The best deals, grocery deals in the area, plus the best fuel perks, pump perks over there too, Hy-Vee perks. Take advantage of all their awesome sales. Make sure you're following Hy-Vee's Facebook page, because sometimes they'll have one-day sales going on, or just some flash sales going on, or that stuff. So hit up Hy-Vee, grab yourself some. Also, if you're going to be doing some tailgating this year, some 4-packs of Man Cave Light, some Dan Good Burgers, all that good stuff from our good friends at Hy-Vee. Really quick, we only got 20 seconds here, but back to that you need a break thing, Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
Do you though think we are seeing that from people because of like how the XFL, AFL, whatever they're calling themselves? I mean, attendance, okay, was good initially, but then it kind of falls off a little bit.
Like I don't know, I barely know or don't know who's doing well.
Probably Birmingham.
Right, St. Louis is doing well. That's about it.
So I mean, we're not in the minority on that?
Probably not, but then again, there's the difference of NFL. So then,
well, that's what I was going to say. Is if the NFL Shield is on it, is it different?
Yes,
I do too.
Yes,
I think so. All right, 2 in, 1 more to go. Business and sports coming up next. Final hour on this Wednesday morning, the final Wednesday, the month of May. Just flying on through. Going to be June 1st already coming up this weekend. Oh, we got some business and sports coming up here in just a couple minutes. We're going to get back to some baseball talk. Brewers, Cubs back in action tonight. Timberwolves staying alive for at least another day here. Got Stanley Cup playoffs also continuing to roll on as well. So, taking your texts, your comments, your on the video stream. Also, big thanks to everybody who has sent over some photos from Memorial Day weekend with your fishing adventures. A lot of good ones out there. We're going to put them up on the Tilden Gun Trophy Gallery. I'll try to do that later on today. So if you got any more photos that you'd like to put up on that trophy gallery, it's at sportstalk1051.com/outdoors. Just send them on over and I'll add those to it. And don't forget, if you're looking for that perfect Father's Day gift this year, maybe dad or grandpa or uncle or husband or whoever needs a new deer rifle or a new turkey shotgun, go visit our good friends from Tilden Gun. So before we get to a little business and sports here, I got a question that I need some help with, Lucas.
Okay.
We've talked about this off and on here. Sports collections, okay? Mm-hmm. Collecting and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel I have a need that I need to start collecting something. I feel like it's got the easiest one's probably got to be sports. I don't have wall space. Okay.
Right.
Man, I can't put signs up. I can't collect signs or anything like that. If I were to collect sports cards again, and I mostly just help out Hudson right now, what player should I do?
Like current player?
No, it don't have to be current player. But something that I don't have to spend $50 a pop each time to get a card of.
Oh boy.
So I'm struggling with this, dude.
With like a player, and you want to go like completist on this?
Yeah, like I feel like I want to have a collection of something. Whether it's like old fishing lures, golf balls, which is expensive. I eBayed some of that. Now I see some of those balls that I played with as a junior high, and I'm like, dude, what was I thinking? Spalding for $40 now? It was like a quarter back in the day. And some people keep them in their sleeves, and now they're selling them for $40 on eBay, for crying out loud. But I feel like the cheapest, easiest way without taking up a lot of space is probably a card. I just don't know who. Not Dion. A couple people have said Dion. I'm not doing Dion.
Yeah, all the Dion cards.
Yeah, I've got some, but I just it's got to be a Packer.
Okay,
I don't know who.
What story do you want to tell?
That's a great question, Luke, and I don't know. But I love how you phrase that. I love how you phrase that.
Because when you have that, then you can go like, okay, and here's the progression of the career, and you're using it through cards.
Because I'll tell you right now, Aaron Rodgers is not my guy anymore. So
no,
it's not Favre. Love's too early in the career right now. But I love how you phrase that question. That is, that's deep, and I really like that.
Because I'm thinking of like of course I go to baseball cards first because that's usually so. I'm thinking like a brewer.
Yeah.
I know some of the, like finding a Robin Yount rookie card. Good luck. But could you find someone similar to that where you could tell a story of
That's a really good question.
I mean, you could do one.
Like I wish there was a bunch of Don Hudson ones, but there's not, and it's a little pricey. So
right.
That sort of thing.
Reggie White?
I mean, I got some, but I don't know. I got
Jim Gantner, if you want to do like a Wisconsin's but Brewer icon, but not a Hall of Famer, you probably get the cards relatively cheaply, but you probably could get like the whole collection. If you're talking a Packer, though,
that's a tough one.
Yeah,
I don't know. I need some help. I need some guidance. So,
but that may be the route to go. Like, what means a lot, but also not to the point where you're going to have to spend hundreds of dollars ultimately trying to put this collection together.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not so much
like
the player, but it's maybe the team or the era.
Well, that's the thing, is like the era. So like shout out to Brian from Card Collecting Club. He sent me a photo of his. He's got like a huge collection of retro Packer ones that would be awesome. But I gotta start it off cheap. You know what I mean? Like
oddly, Mason Crosby could probably set.
Oh gosh, I don't want to do Mason.
I know, but
the person I keep going back to is Jordy.
Because part of me was thinking Donald Driver, but I'm like, he's more like fan favorite versus what does this mean to Packer history?
Yeah.
That's not a knock on Donald Driver, but you see, it's a subtle thing.
Yeah.
Jordy Nelson's career wasn't that long,
Yeah.
relatively speaking, either.
I don't know. Maybe it's not cards. Maybe it's something else. I don't know. But I need some help. I need some advice. Like I thought, hey, golf ball? Nope, those are expensive. Holy crap.
Yeah.
So, and nothing that takes up a lot of space because I don't have a lot of space. So think about it.
You will have to think more about that.
All right, let's do the business of sports. Before I get to the business of sports itself, I'll play the lead-in of what we're going to talk about. And I got a question to go with this, all right? So I hope the audio plays without any glitches. But as you know...
Pre-roll ad.
Yeah, so here we go. There you go. Gatorade's bringing back its tagline from the 90s and the early 2000s. Is it in you?
With Travis Scott in the background.
And Michael Jordan narrating it.
Huh.
Gatorade, according to, this is your business of sports brought to you by Security Financial Bank. According to the Sports Business Journal, Gatorade launches its biggest campaign ever, featuring Michael Jordan narrating the return of Is It In You? The campaign will revive the tagline as well as the Gatorade colored sweat seen in those ads from the 90s and the early 2000s. Obviously, I had the video up so I could see that. I don't know if you saw the video or not.
I've not yet seen it, but I did see there was a story, but so I'm going to go find that now.
So Dame was on there for a quick minute there, but the athletes that were featured, first one was Caitlin Clark. There was a couple WNBA players on there. Jason Tatum, Josh Allen was also on there. So they're bringing it back.
Oh, okay. Now I'm seeing it here.
Yeah.
Yep. I see the Gatorade colored sweat.
Everybody can kind of picture that back in the day, right?
Yep.
Sort of thing there. When I think of some of these, like, I'll go back to that era. Can you think of I almost feel like for brand, awareness or product awareness or whatever, is it fair to say the NBA, how do I want to phrase? Because when I think about some of the stuff, when I was a big NBA fan as a kid, Sprite and Gatorade and McDonald's, I all associated with the NBA because of Jordan, Grant Hill with Sprite. I think even Anthony Edwards is doing Sprite stuff now with that. I feel like the NBA, that's one of the things they do really well, is that those certain type. I mean, I've always ever since probably my whole life, Gatorade, when I think of that, I don't think of the NFL, even though it's on the sidelines. I still think of the NBA. Sprite, I think of the NBA. And I still think of McDonald's with the NBA. And that goes to Jordan and such back in the day.
See, I'm different on Gatorade, but that's solely because one of my formative Gatorade moments was the Gatorade Bath Super Bowl 21.
Oh, see, you got that too, yeah.
When I was 8 years old. So it's the Gatorade shower in football is what I always associate that with. But again, it depends on your era.
Yeah.
We were 10 years, approximately 8-ish years beyond that.
Right.
When the NBA became a bigger deal for that.
Exactly. And, I mean, we used to have a poster in the studio here of Jordan Duncan, and it was a Gatorade poster. The Gatorade squirt bottles, I wanted to have one because I saw it on the NBA sidelines. Now Hudson has it. It's that old, but still, that's, I just, the NBA to me has always been really good when it comes to like that specific type of brand. I mean, Sprite's been there for how many years now?
Yeah.
I don't think it's as big as it. I for whatever reason, I just think of Grant Hill all the time now. Whenever I think of Sprite, I think of Grant Hill. I think even LeBron started off doing a little Sprite stuff back in the day. I think he even started off doing a little McDonald's stuff too. But those are we're starting to see that revive of the NBA with some of these brands a little bit?
Probably. I mean, whatever works. I mean, for starters, always think of nostalgia and what people are drawn back. Like what will make them feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And if there is something effectively nostalgic, you for a brand that for whatever reason may need to have an increase in its market share is struggling. I don't know off the top of my head, and I could look it up to see if Gatorade is struggling, but
It is interesting that it says it's their biggest campaign ever.
Huh.
Right? I mean, I'm surprised. Like, maybe there's something else going on, but it's like when it says largest, it's like Gatorade, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, what's their competition? Is it Powerade?
Possibly, or other energy drinks or supplements. I'm looking through here and like
I could picture them. I just there's the other ones out there. Was it? There's some other ones out there too. But gosh, I remember as a kid, it was like All Sport is what I wanted because Shaq endorsed All Sport. Remember All Sport had a little carbony fizz, the glass bottles. Oh yeah,
vaguely. Like I do remember when Powerade broke in around the mid '90s. Had that for a while.
Yeah. I was an All Sport straight up because of Shaq, and it had the little carbonation to it. Man, bring that back. I know they got the powder stuff, but that ain't the same. Got to bring it back in the bottles.
The drink, yes. Yeah. By the way, in this ad, I love, like, my favorite part of the ad is Jason Tatum looking up at the rafters.
Oh, and the blank banner.
The blank one. Because they haven't, which, by the way, they may need to change this in
I was going to say, they might have changed that
in a month. And right now, based on who you say is the favorite, would be that. But I love that. To be like in the moment, like, yeah, you play for maybe the ultimate NBA team. You haven't won a title, and they're acknowledging that. I love how they put that in there. Like, he's got to try harder to make this happen. That's great.
By the way,
acknowledging a weakness and how, well, and also, I guess the message is, but if you have Gatorade, you can get there.
But the Jordan at the end is got to be AI generated or a little bit
That
younger.
Doesn't look like current Jordan.
That is not current Jordan.
No.
Not at all.
It's a little,
little younger.
Yeah, face has grown out a little bit more. I mean, that's age. Plus, when he says that too, as I see that, it does look a little artificial. Just the way he says it.
Yeah,
the face looks a little. Yeah. So yeah, I like that.
But it is very NBA centric. I guess they have Josh Allen in there
and the Olympics.
Yep,
good timing on that, of course. Yeah, it's NBA, which of course is that's where you're getting a lot of that. WNBA is white hot right now. Caitlin Clark is, so of course you're going to do that. NFL, because duh. Yeah, I mean, okay. I mean, if you want what's big right now in the spring of 2024, probably the only thing you're missing is something international soccer related, because that's always going to be huge. This covers a lot of the bases right there, and also with who you can get for your endorsements.
What's the one brand? I know this is kind of a very open-ended question and could go a bunch of different ways here. But like, is there a brand when you think about like a product? When you think of a sport immediately.
Ooh.
Like a certain sport immediately.
Oh wow.
Like for me, like I already said, Gatorade to me is basketball. I know you make a great point with the football and the Gatorade bass and all that, but when I think of Gatorade, I think of like the guys on the bench and their paper cups, you know, that sort of stuff, and the squeeze bottles in there. So I mean, I'm not talking about like Jordan brand, because obviously that's basketball, and I know they're into baseball and football now too. But I'm talking like specific product type of ones.
Wow, that's a good question.
Like to me, it's Gatorade and basketball are just like together.
Like certain drinks, like I will say Dr. Pepper is getting more and more
college football. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yep.
More, I mean, and I've
bowl
drank,
season.
Right. And I've drank Dr. Pepper all my life, but it's becoming more associated because of the advertising campaign. Of course.
Like what would be the NFL's?
Ooh.
Is it Brewskis?
I don't know.
I don't know if it is anymore.
No.
Remember, like when cigarettes used to be all over the place, and Marlboro Man and Winston.
I mean,
NASCAR was a big one, right? Winston Cup race and all that. So
I mean, the tastes great, less filling. That was a baseball one for a while. All those
they're bringing that back. See all these brands bringing back their retro
because they
sayings?
worked.
Yeah.
That's the thing. A lot of it worked. This is one where, like, I'm not thinking of them off the top of my head, but if I saw them, I think I'd make more of an association. Again, Gatorade for me is more of a football thing. But again, I think it's the time of when was that a big deal? The Gatorade bath and running around and trying to find Bill Parcells.
I mean, come on. The song, If I Could Be Like Mike, Gatorade. That's a Gatorade commercial.
I wanna be
Right?
like
I mean,
yeah.
gosh. Maybe the common thing here is just it's all Jordan.
Well, right.
Yeah.
If Jordan endorses something,
If Jordan endorsed something, you're probably going to get it.
I probably associated Nike more with basketball for a while, but now that they've become so omnipresent and everything uniform, that's watered down.
It's funny you mentioned that one because Hudson's on that kick right now because of basketball.
Huh.
Like he got his first pair of Nikes because he sees basketball players wear it all the time.
Huh.
But I was that way too. But I originally first was I want a pair of Reeboks because of Shaq. And now I know Shaq's trying to do more with it, and I think he's like president of the basketball operations for Reebok and all that. But yeah, I mean, there's when you're kids, you're younger, you're trying to emulate what you see on TV, right? Still think it's weird that Jordan, what do you do? Ballpark Franks, remember those ads?
Yes.
It's like hot dogs. Okay, all right, got it. But
Well,
I remember at that time,
and-
it was like, oh, Ballpark Franks got to be the best hot dogs out there if Jordan
And
needs them.
speaking of this, you hear the Usingers endorsements
Mhm.
all the time. First time ever, I bought Usingers the other day. Put them on the grill. I haven't had them yet because it was one of those where like I grill a whole bunch of stuff and we haven't had it yet for dinner. But I did that because I'm like, I have never had one. But Euchre's talking about it all the time. And honestly, I'm looking at it like if he's saying it's good, then they're gonna be good. That's the whole point of doing that. Like what you said with Mike Starbuck. Okay, well, I'm going to go try something there because you said that. I'm like, it's got to be good. That's what you make an association that way. That's advertising 101.
Is Jordan the best endorser of all time?
Oh, wow. I think possibly. Well, okay. Yes, he is. And I'm saying it because of what he did in 1991 on Saturday Night Live. The women's freshness ad.
Oh, I don't know.
You've never
I don't know if I
seen
saw
that
this
one?
I might have, and it's just not clicking with me because as soon as you said SNL and Jordan, I thought the Bears skit and with the Bears fans on there, like Jordan was on it. Was that the same episode?
Let's see. No, here we go.
Mr. Jordan, do you think it's as hard to be a teenage girl as it is to be a basketball player?
I'm sure it is, Jessica. It's never easy to do your best, no matter who you are.
That's what I thought. Can I ask you another question, Mr. Jordan?
Of course.
Well, sometimes I get that not so fresh feeling, you know?
Wow. Okay.
I only get that feeling sometimes, Jessica. That's why there's new feminine secret.
Ah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember that because that was right around the time sorry, but this was the ad. Do you douche? It was a very popular ad campaign in the 1980s. That was like a thing. So that was like the combination of all those ads are out there. So that whole not so fresh feeling. So everyone got it. And Jordan was starting to become Michael Jordan endorser extraordinaire. Because that SNL episode, let's see, when was he on in 91? I'm trying to think, was this before or after the NBA Finals? It was September of 1991. So yes, this was after. So he was now a superstar. This is the first moment he had made the leap. And so then they did that. And there was a parody of how Michael Jordan will endorse anything and make it a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a long way of answering the question of, yes, Michael Jordan is the best.
So was he the best? Was he also the first big time athlete? I mean, yes, there was a Bird and the Magic Johnson Converse commercials. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, was he like the very, very like the first like superstar? First athlete to become such a superstar?
Oh boy. I mean, you could say Euchre preceded him, but that wasn't really more because he was an athlete. It's because he was a sports figure. I I think Jordan might have been the first white hot superstar. Again, SNL was parodying that, and I don't think they or really any other parody entity parody that. That's usually one of your best gauges of when is something big when it gets parodied.
There's a couple more that because I googled this for Jordan, and there's a couple that I forgot that are to me when I think of Jordan that it should be Hanes, right? The T-shirts, the bacon neck or whatever, that sort of stuff. Wheaties. I mean, Wheaties as a kid was okay.
Gotta eat your Wheaties.
God, I was in sports. I wanted to be in sports. I wanted to play sports. So what do I have to do? I got to eat Wheaties. It was a thing to go down the cereal aisle to see who was on the cover of Wheaties or who was on the box of Wheaties. That was a thing. Oh, Packers won the Super Bowl. I got to make sure to get some Wheaties because they're going to be on the box. Is that still a thing? I know there's still athletes on it, but is it as big of a thing anymore?
I mean, it's not as big as it used to be. But like in the 80s, like I'd be keeping boxes of.
Maybe that's what I should collect, old Wheaties boxes.
Yeah, because I think I saved, like I cut out the front when the Twins won the World Series, and that was on the cover of, that was on a Wheaties box. And I cut it out, and I think I still have it somewhere. Okay, so I'm just trying to find like a list. I was expecting a Wikipedia page that went on for like 5 pages.
I forgot he did the Rayovac one too.
Yeah. Nike, Gatorade, Hanes, Ultra Hair Products, Upper Deck, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Wheaties, Chevrolet, Ballpark Franks. A timeline of his contracts. What am I missing here? Yeah, Chevrolet, Nike were in 84. Wheaties was in 88. Hanes was in 89.
Are you looking at the Bleacher Report article?
Yes.
Yeah.
Coca-Cola, Gatorade in 91. Upper Deck in 92. McDonald's 93.
Man, yeah. He did everything.
Yep. Yep. And made a difference with them. That's why. Like one of the others I think of is Charles Barkley.
Really?
Yeah. I think of, well, he had probably one of the most iconic ads. I'm not a role model.
Oh, that one
stays to this day.
Yep.
It does. But he's still in ads also to this day. So
Subway.
Yeah. And on all of those. So Michael Jordan is, I think he is the best at it.
Yeah. Man, I'm trying to think of any other ones.
I know I can't really find much more. So it feels like he endorsed everything, and he didn't. It's just he endorsed the big ones. So of course, by doing that, then you think, oh, he's endorsing everything, and he's not. Because really, all you got to do to get that impression is endorse white hot brands, so you're associated with the biggest names, and then maybe have one other one like, no offense to Ballpark Franks. Okay. So that's one that's a little bit off. You're like, oh, he'll even do that. And then you start to think, well, is he doing like obscure auto dealerships in Dayton, Ohio? He's not. But you start to think that.
Yeah. All right. We got to take a quick break. We're a little long, but I think I found what I might start collecting. Wheaties box.
Not a bad idea. It's
I'm
a little
looking at eBay.
Nichey, but not impossible.
I'm looking at eBay. They're not badly priced either.
I'm going to go back and find those old 80s Gatorade commercials with the green and blue squares we're filling up there. But you've seen those, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's classic. And a little too retro, but still.
I had a couple of Wheaties ones from when Green Bay won Super Bowl 45, but they got flood damaged on there. So.
Ooh, not good.
Yeah.
You could probably find them somewhere.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, do that. That's different.
It is different, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Let me do some more. Let me do some more research here.
Cool.
Shall we? So,
yes.
All right, we'll take a quick break. Let's get back to some baseball talk and such. Coming up after these quick words. When you're firing up the grills this summer, make sure you got the best products out there, and you can get that from Mike's Star Market on the west side of Eau Claire. Whether you're looking for some steaks or maybe some brats, the widest selection of different flavors of brats that you could ask for, including the Bloody Mary ones. Those are fantastic over there if you haven't tried them. $1 per package also goes to Backyard Dreams. So when you're grilling out this summer, don't forget to get the best of the best, and that's at Mike's Star Market, again, on the west side of Eau Claire. By the way, do you think your T-Wolves are going to make that magical run and win their next 3 now?
I don't think so.
Okay, just say
No,
no.
I don't think so. Like I'm not predicting that.
I feel like there's a but coming from you.
I'm only saying a but in the sense of that, as I like to say, we've never seen something happen until it does. But see, now my real but is, that's not going to happen. This doesn't go beyond 6. And I know we've had some 3-0 NBA deficits go 7, but I would be like, I'd be more confident in the Wolves if they had a better home court advantage, which again is dissolving across the league before our eyes. So I don't know that it really matters at all. No, it would have to be some combination of Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns having good games from like last night forward. I think Ant's got a massive game left in him if they can get long enough for him to display that. But you'd have to have that, or if one's off, someone else like a Jaden McDaniels has to go for 25. And Luka and Kyrie are going to have to struggle. Plus, if Derek Lively comes back, good luck.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe we're saying Derek Lively, but that's part of the chemistry for this particular Mavericks team, on court chemistry. So no, I'm not going to predict them going that far. I think it goes a max of 6. I would not be surprised if it's done tomorrow night.
All right.
Yeah.
Baseball. Brewers back in action tonight, going up against the Cubbies. Boy, it's going to be a tough pitching matchup tonight, though.
Yep.
This kid. I keep calling him kid. He's 30 years old, but still, everybody's a kid now.
Shota Imanaga.
Yeah.
Everyone should know who he is. If you don't, you should.
Learn. Pretty much what we're hoping for is that tonight is going to be his first off night of his major league career.
Maybe he's probably due at some point. He can't keep this going forever.
No. And you look at his lines, he probably should have a couple more wins if he had some run support. That's how good he's been pitching. He's had a couple no decisions in this month alone where he's allowed no runs or maybe just a couple runs. That's it. No runs. I think he's only had 3 earned runs total so far this month. And he's only got 1 win in 5 starts.
Yeah. That's
ridiculous. 5-0 with a sub-1 ERA. Good Lord. So one thing the Cubs got right this offseason.
He is right now, I'm going at Vegas Insider. He is number 2 in the odds for the Cy Young behind Zach Wheeler.
Okay. Well, if he keeps this up, he's going to be number 1.
Right. I mean, Wheeler's pitching really well this year too. But if Imanaga keeps at this level, wow, it's sublime what we're seeing from him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not coming in as a fireballer either. That's usually when a guy comes in, it's 102 miles an hour, because that's what happens with pitchers nowadays. They're white hot and then they blow their arm out and then their career's done in 2 years. It's not Shota Imanaga. That's not his pitching.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's throwing people off of it. Wait, what's this? So, yeah, it is kind of cool to see. I mean, it'd be better if he wasn't a Cub. But it's good that he's finding different ways to pitch, using the 4-seamer a lot more effective, way more effective. I mean, he's got 58% on that. The leaders in ERA for 4-seamers this year, next highest percentage is Renaud Blanco of the Astros at 35%. And again, he's at 58%, 92 miles an hour on this.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's slow. It's slower than the average,
Mm-hmm.
but he's pulling it off. He's a really good pitcher right now. And again, maybe he gets figured out as time goes along too. That's the thing. This is a lot of first time for a lot of these teams, and of course, because we have the balanced schedule, you're not always going to see them later in the year. But for now, scary.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess if there were an offense that could take advantage of it,
How much now after the reaction that we saw on Monday with Craig Counsell's return? And I don't know if anybody happened to see some of there was I think it was ESPN Madison that went around before the game and did like a video thing and like talked to some Brewers fans about what they thought about Craig Counsell and such. And let's just say there's not a lot of love lost. And seeing the reaction, hearing the reaction from Monday, how far does this move up in the rankings of most hated rival teams for Wisconsin fans right now?
It's definitely up.
Top 3?
I think so.
Yeah.
Because
nothing's going to pass Bears Vikings, right?
Yeah.
Talking for Packers, Bears Vikings, those. So is it number 3?
It is, though.
Remember a couple years ago we had this debate whether Brewers and Cubs were a rival. Some people didn't think it was.
Yeah. I think, now I will say, we were talking about this last week, like all the council talk was quiet. Like, is this really going to be a thing? Well, yeah, it was actually. It just had to get there, apparently.
It was louder than I thought it was going to be. I'll admit that.
Yeah. So they did bring it for sure. I think the passion is strongest right now with that one. Doesn't mean it's the top rivalry, but it's the one that's going to get the strongest emotions right now. Maybe if something happens, I mean, there's probably some sentiment of Aaron Jones as a traitor for going to the Vikings, but I mean, was he not supposed to go if he's
and that was a little bit different though too, right?
Right.
It was like, again, it's the narrative that we had when Favre was no longer with the Packers. It's the Jets, and he was, it's okay, it's the Jets. But then it was, he chose to go to the Vikings, and that's what really pissed everybody off.
How dare you?
Right.
Well, then again, his other team said bye. What is he supposed to be like? Yeah, well, I won't go to your rivals. I mean, I guess if you were Aaron Jones, a native Wisconsinite, and grew up a Packers fan, you're probably not going to go to the Vikings if you were let go. If the Packers are like, yeah, we don't think you're that good anymore, bye-bye. I mean, I don't think they were that blunt, but if it was kind of a not so great ending, shall we say? Maybe that's it wasn't that great. It wasn't a bad ending, but it wasn't the greatest. But you're probably not going to go play for the Vikings or Bears because they are your rival as a fan. Aaron Jones, he doesn't care that much. I don't think unless someone in the Packers or some other team did him wrong, he'll go to the rival. And maybe there's some strong feelings the other way, like, well, that's the team that was my employer, and they thought I wasn't good enough, and the rival wants me. Heck yeah, I'm going to do that. And I think a good number of Packers fans understand that sentiment. It's different than fandom. That's what it is. It's as simple as that. But all of that said, those are not as strong rivalries right now, as hot right now. But I'll still take Packers, Vikings, Packers, Bears in some order. I think the Bears one is probably always number one, and we just don't sense it as much because we're in Western Wisconsin, and the Vikings one is the hottest where we live. But the Bears one is always going to be number one. Just it will always be until the Bears don't get their stadium and they move to Mexico City. I'm surprised Florio hasn't speculated. Hey, they used to be in Decatur, so they moved before. I'm a little surprised he hasn't gone that far.
Right.
By the way, side note, I see the Illinois legislature just adjourned for their session. No work in the stadium. So,
you should freak out, Bears fans.
Maybe they are going to move because other places would love to have an NFL team.
Well, they would. Do you really think Kansas City is going to be moving? I appreciate.
Hey, why was Patrick Mahomes in Dallas? Just saying.
Yeah, because he wants right. So, all right,
they're not moving. No, they're not moving.
No. All right, let's take our final break, and we've got some picks and predicts coming up to wrap up this Wednesday morning. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Let's do some picks and predicts brought to you by the Elbow Room in Eau Claire, located right next to the Banbury Place. Don't forget Wednesday night's trivia night. So, want to show off your skills? Go visit the Elbow Room tonight. I know they got like TV themed ones over there. We need to have like a green and gold trivia night one night somewhere.
Ooh.
I don't know if I want to participate though. I feel like the bar would be set too high, and I'd be too competitive.
Yeah.
Although I'm trying to find something, Luke, that fuels my competitive drive. I was thinking about this again last night. Like, I want to be on a team, but I don't want to do a whole lot because I'm too old. But I got to do something to fuel my competitive drive.
Kind of narrowing that
Like,
down.
well, it's like I'm not going to commit to playing every week for basketball or something like that.
You should do like curling. Something that's not really that, like, you don't have to be like peak athletic 27 years old or something to do that.
Well, I'd like to do a golf league. It's just.
But the thing is, that involves concentration for a good long
But
while.
I like golf, so I wouldn't mind doing that.
Yeah.
It's just I got to find a partner that I would enjoy going with.
Yeah.
And then we got Little League too. So, but I gotta find something. I gotta be a part of a team. I gotta figure out something. Tournament fit, I don't care. Gotta find something. Gotta figure it out.
Doesn't involve a ton of athleticism, like running around a lot.
Yeah, no, I ain't doing that.
No,
I'm
gonna say
past
ultimate
that.
frisbee. Oh, that you're running.
I'm not running anymore. I am done in the running game. Done. D-U-N, done.
Coob?
Yeah.
Seriously, Coob?
The thing is, though, is like, I'm going to try anything at this point, but I got to jump in all hands, and I got to be able to, like, perform right away. You know what I mean?
I'm telling you, like, for like the one time I did it, but I've always been fascinated watching it. Seriously, I think you could do like a curling team thing and make something of it. I really think you probably could. Because again, there's a lot of concentration. It is a team sport. It can move, the scores can move around a fair amount. So you're not necessarily dealing with blowouts. You're not going to get exhausted after 5 minutes from running around because you're not. You don't have to skate.
How long do matches go?
I'm trying to remember exactly. This isn't like cricket where they go on for like 5 days for one match.
Yeah.
I'm being kind of facetious on that, but they do go. Some of those go a long time.
I wish they had like a.
And there's all clear curling stuff we know about that. It's right around here.
Yeah. Wish there was like a 2-person traveling golf league.
Maybe there is, and you just don't know.
I mean, it's outings, but I don't want to do outings all the time. So I got to find my competitive need, sort of thing. All right, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I just want the swag that goes with it too.
You want another trophy? I
don't want a trophy. I don't want. I'm over that. I'm over that stuff. So
you got a big enough beer can one still.
Exactly, and it's almost touching the ceiling. That's how tall that thing is. All right, picks and predicts. Let's go with let's do a little hockey because we don't have any NBA games tonight because your T-Wolves had to freaking extend this thing and make it just last a little bit longer. So,
hey, it's the PWHL championship game is tonight. Game 5, Minnesota-Boston. Who you got?
Boston.
I have a bad feeling about this. I'm going to say Boston, unfortunately.
Let's do the other hockey game, though, tonight. Your Dallas Stars taking on my Edmonton Oilers.
It's really more my Edmonton Oilers compared to I'm going to take Dallas.
See? Told you. I'm taking Edmonton to tie it up.
I want Edmonton to win, but I trust the other team to be. And the other team plays better more holistically. Like, overall, Edmonton... Yeah, they're not as complete. They're great offensively, and I think Dallas is still going to win this series.
Let's do I guess we'll do some baseball. Then I got a prediction one coming up here, changing it up a little bit. So let's do some baseball ones. Coming up, let me bring up the schedule in case there's a couple more that I want to hit up that we may have missed. Let's actually do Arizona, Texas.
Ooh. Texas been struggling of late. Arizona, and they're not in the playoffs, but
Texas did win last night.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the I'm going to go Rangers in this one.
I'll go Rangers as well. How about Philly at the Giants?
Ooh, boy.
Giants won last night, 1-0 in 10.
The cardiac Giants of late. They're hey, guess what? All of the right now, if the season ended, all playoff teams in the National League would be above 500. Congratulations, guys. Good. We can win games. So let's see. Harrison against Sanchez. I'll go. You know what? I know the Phillies have one of the best records in the league right now, in baseball right now. I'll go the Gigantes for this one.
I'll go Phillies bouncing back and putting up some runs in today's game to get the W. So let's go Houston at Seattle.
Will Houston continue their gradual climb back up? By the way, speaking of standings right now, the Twins would play the Mariners because the Mariners are the third seed and the Twins are the sixth, and the Twins have a better record than the Mariners. So I wouldn't be too scared of that matchup. Verlander taking the mound for the Stros tonight. I think Houston kind of sort of keeps it going.
I'm going to go Houston too. I'm going to go Houston tonight.
Still got a lot of work to do, but they're moving broadly in the right direction.
Let's do Kansas City, Minnesota. 20s won last night 4-2.
I will take the Royals in this one. Seth Lugo's off to a great start. And I've never been fully confident in what Bailey Ober's been doing. Side note, Pablo Lopez hasn't been pitching that well of late, and he's their ace. I think it's probably just a wave right now. But back to this game, I think Lugo gets the win for the Royals tonight in the snow. Yeah. People were like, it's, Charles Barkley, like, it's snowing up there. Well, if you didn't know any better, it looks like it. Cottonwood all over the place.
Yeah.
We know around here, but I'll take the Royals tonight.
I'll take the Royals as well. Chicago, Milwaukee. Will we have a third in a row pitching duel tonight?
You know what? Imanaga gets a no decision, and the Brewers win late.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. The over-under is at 7.5. Taking the over or the under for runs. Yeah, I'm taking the under on that. I'm going Cubs, though. I'm going Cubs.
Okay. Understandable given the matchup.
Yep. All right, prediction time now for this one. We got plenty of time here, but it's newsworthy now. Okay. I can't believe I'm bringing this up because it just bugs me. Bronny James.
You're actually going there.
Bronny James has been turning down draft interviews besides for two teams. Lakers, and the Phoenix Suns. Which, according to reports, the Phoenix Suns are seriously considering drafting Bronny James with their first overall pick, in part in hopes to lure LeBron to Phoenix. Will Bronny James, at this point in time, on May 28th, 29th, whatever it is, 29th, be a first-round pick?
Because that would be 22. Presuming the Suns don't trade up to get him. Because he's going to go higher. No.
I hope not, Phoenix. Don't do this.
Is that a Nishaba move? Is he doing that just for engagement? So he can pull LeBron over and fill seats?
Yes.
Because he's that kind of owner?
Yeah. LeBron, KD together.
Oh, my gosh.
Booker Beal will probably have to leave, I'm assuming then. Right? I mean, one of those guys would have to leave, but
oh my gosh.
When I saw that yesterday, I'm like, oh, poor Mike Budenholzer. Poor Mike Budenholzer. Would Bud survive the offseason, or if LeBron then came over, would he force Bud out before the season begins to get in his own guy? He'll last the season.
One season?
Anything short of a conference final, I think it would be short. One season.
Because LeBron will pick his own coach after that.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
For what would probably be his final season.
Yeah.
After that. So 2 in Phoenix, and then he's done.
Oh,
gosh. I saw some people are betting that Bronny's going to go number 1.
Yeah, I did see some of those bets too.
But then when you read through it, it's like people taking total flyers on this. They're just presuming like, hey, what if Atlanta decides that they can bring in LeBron? Because that's what it is. It's not because someone thinks Bronny James on his own. It's because you'd get LeBron James as part of that. But realistically, most people are. No one's betting massive amounts of money.
You know what this is reminding me of really quickly? Tim Tebow.
Gosh.
Remember?
Yes.
Then he ends up going in the first round.
Yes.
That's what it's kind of reminding me of. But at least Tim Tebow had collegiate success.
Right.
Yeah.
Ronnie James didn't really.
No.
And he's expected to be like, this is a second round pick, and like he might be an okay NBA, which that's fine. Like he doesn't have to be LeBron James part 2.
Right.
But we always expect that with the offspring. Michael Jordan's son is going to be the next No, he's not.
No.
I mean, he could, but usually it doesn't work out that way.
Charlie is probably not going to be the next Tiger.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Really good golfer, but I mean, come on now.
If he's in a PGA Tour event, can you imagine what's going to be the hype when that comes around?
Right. No kidding.
It's coming.
Especially if Tiger's still playing.
Yep.
Put them on the same tee together.
Oh, now but that being said, I'd love to see that.
Yeah. A few of you have said cornhole. I've done that many times. A lot of you saying try it. I've tried it. I've done it.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know if I want to. I like playing bags, but not competitively. So not that way.
So you got a few options there.
Yeah, but
think about it.
Folks. Maybe I'll just enter some like long drive competitions for golf. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. If anybody's seen me, no, you wouldn't do that. No. I should do mini golf tour. There we go.
Ooh.
Yeah. Be one of those.
Putting across Wisconsin.
Be one of those people that if you don't get it on the first one, you're done.
Your competitive juices. That's the thing. You need something where the competition goes on for a while.
Apparently. So, all right. That's going to do it for us. DP and the Danettes. They're up next. Have a good rest of your Wednesday. We'll do it again tomorrow morning. 6 a.m. I believe we're going to have Brandenburg on tomorrow because, state track and field lacrosse starts on Friday. So, a little bit of change in schedule. So, we'll see you all tomorrow morning, just past 6.